I think I'm I'm not really a fan of his, but I think I'm gonna have to go Hunter Pence just because after that last Pedro Alvarez pick is making me feel a little dirty about not taking any average.
Well, I mean, I think I didn't mean to like put that in your head, but with Davis and Alvarez, I mean, you kind of have to admit there's some batting average risk there.
Yeah,
I mean, you did mitigate that a little bit with Pedroia and Braun and Holiday.
yeah. Um, I think I'm actually gonna take Carlos Beltran right now. I know it's probably an unpopular pick because I know there's a lot of people that don't like him, but I'm kind of picking him for the same reason I picked Matt Holiday with the consistent producer in 3 or 4 different categories.
Are you at all worried that you're paying for Pence's career year in 2013?
Oh, I picked Carlos Beltran,
Oh, I'm sorry.
not
Yep,
Pence.
nope, that's fair. Yeah. So, did that come into your decision not to take Pence?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Plus, man, after this is a terrible reason not to pick someone, but after seeing him swing a bat, it's hard to justify picking a guy that swings like a dinosaur.
Yeah, I hear that. Oh, my dog is losing her mind. Um, quiet down. All right. Sorry about that. So, a couple picks up before I am on the clock here. Eric Hosmer is a guy I almost took last round, and he's still sitting there. I'm considering him. The two shortstops I was looking at last round are still there, so I feel good about kind of waiting on them. Andrews and Cabrera. I don't know exactly what I want to do here. I should also probably consider some outfielders. Yeah, I mean, none of these guys really stand out to me. Like, I'm not an Alex Gordon guy. Josh Hamilton scares the crap out of me. And kind of all the next 10 guys all just come with some, like, major wart or worry. I only
Yeah.
have 2 outfielders, so I need to start to address that soon. But, yeah, at this point, I think it comes down to Hosmer, or do I want to take a shortstop? I'm going to look at the opponents drafting after me here, and both of them have a shortstop. They do have middle infield open, but I'm going to bank on them not taking both of those guys. I could be wrong, and if I am, I'll pay for it. But I think it comes down to Hosmer, an outfielder, or maybe another pitcher. I also like Jordan Zimmerman. I liked Mike Minor a lot before he got hurt. It sounds like he's going to miss the first week or a couple weeks of the season, and that's never good. All the elite closers are gone at this point except for Trevor Rosenthal. Yeah, I'm just going to take Hosmer. I think he's due to continue improving. I like kind of how he started off poorly and turned his season around to an extent last year. I probably overvalue good second half players. I think, they'll just keep doing that in the first half of this year. Is that something you look at very often, Zach?
Yeah, I think tend to not value it as much as some people do. I think, like you said, how you look into it a lot. I think a lot of fantasy baseball players put a little too much value in the second half. But yeah, I look at it. I just don't get carried away with looking at it.
Yeah, I think oftentimes it's more just about playing time, and circumstance has a lot to do with it. Like, if you know a guy started off like maybe hampered by a spring training injury and then he had a big second half, like, I'm more willing to like take those second half stats as this is who this player is. I mean, assuming there isn't some like glaring BABIP issue that says that he was overperforming. But yeah, at the same time, like I do think that especially young players get better or they kind of get worse sometimes as like they adjust to the big league game. And I think that matters. I don't know how much it matters, but I think it matters.
Mm. Hosmer and Adrian Gonzalez are 2 of the reasons I've not ended up with Chris Davis or a top first baseman in a mock yet. Usually I'll tend to wait like you did and just take Hosmer in like the 9th round.
Well, I waited on Hosmer, but I took Goldschmidt in the first round. So,
Oh,
yeah, Hosmer at corner infield feels pretty good. With that said, I think I'm going to pay for it in the outfield. This league only asks for 4 outfielders, but it does have 2 utilities. Like, chances are one of those spots could very well just be a another outfielder. I'm going to take Elvis Andrus here and kind of pad my steals and runs total. Cabrera is in the mix, but I'm just going to take the guy on the better team.
yeah, I think the fact that he's on Texas too is going to give you a big boost in RBIs over Cabrera. Not saying that you need them, but just it's always nice to have that extra 20 to 30 RBI.
Yeah. So we're in the 9th round now. How do you like your team so far?
I like it. It's very different than what I'm used to. I I honestly think I'm being thrown off a bit trying to explain my draft strategy while doing that draft strategy.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I found myself down to like 10 seconds pretty much every pick. So, but I like it, but it's just different.
Yeah, I actually find that doing this and kind of talking through my picks will lead me to kind of come to new conclusions about players. Like I'll be looking at, like who I just drafted there. I took Elvis Andrus, but in my rankings I have Starlin Castro ranked higher. These are a little outdated, and that was based on like I did have a feeling coming into the season that Castro was going to bounce back after a really disappointing 2013. But with that said, there was no way I was going to take him there over one of either Andrus or Cabrera. So that like makes me reevaluate my rankings as I have them. I'm probably going to have to drop Starlin Castro down, move those other 2 guys up, and kind of reevaluate that whole mess.
Mm.
All right, you're on the clock again. Explain yourself.
This one's easy. I'm going to take Julio Teheran. He's one of the 2 I mentioned that I was looking at 2 rounds ago or a round ago. I don't know. It's been a while, but I was actually worried that the other Zach in front of me would take him, but it looks like he bypassed him for James Shields.
Yeah, I like Tehran more than Shields as well. I think he's in for a big year.
Yeah, I would have actually loved to go back-to-back starting pitchers with Cobb and Tehran, but Cobb has taken the 2 picks in front of me, so... Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on what you want to do with this next pick?
I have a tough time going back-to-back pitchers, especially seeing that I'm not incredibly fond of a lot of the starting pitchers on the board. So I think I'm going to have to go offense with this pick. Usually in past years, my strategy has been to wait for a catcher, but I think I'm going to have to pick Rosario with my pick.
You're preaching to the choir. I love Willen Rosario. And I do have him ranked higher than Yadier Molina, unlike Yahoo.
Same here. I actually had a tough time. I was going to rank Rosario above Santana. That's a toss-up for me. And plus you can get Rosario a few rounds later.
I think I do have Rosario above Santana. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you do. I'm looking at it right now.
It's my second-ranked player after Posey. With that said, I tend to wait on catcher. When I look at catcher rankings or when I build catcher rankings, for a 1-catcher league like this at least, I almost treat them more just like keeper rankings than anything else. Like if I'm coming into this year and I have like Willen Rosario at $4, like yes, that's great. Like that's where I want him. But like if I have to take him in the 10th round, I will probably just not do that, take another position, and then draft Brian McCann, Jonathan Lucroy, Wilson Ramos later in the draft. That tends to be how I operate in yearly leagues. But that's not to say that Willen Rosario is invaluable.
Yeah, I think it's just another example for me of how this year, we were talking about how this year is just feels different so far. I think that's one big example, is that usually I don't think I could get a catcher that I like as much as Rosario in the 10th round. I think usually they've gone earlier for me.
Yeah, I think that kind of has to do with like just fantasy sports groupthink and just people becoming better players as they play more, and just like information disseminating amongst the population of fantasy players. more easily. Like people realize that you can wait on catcher and that maybe catcher isn't all that important. And yeah, you see it kind of coming true in ADP. Like people are more willing to just wait and wait and wait. And it always like when it starts to zig like that, it tends to be a good idea to zag and be the guy who does take a catcher in the 10th round, because then you're actually getting those guys at proper values. All right, 2 more picks before I'm up here, and I don't know. I'm in a weird spot. I would like to take an outfielder here, but I might take another pitcher. Matt Latos, Shelby Miller, and let's see, Tanaka, I think, are top of my rankings. How do you feel about Tanaka coming into this year? Do you trust him?
Yeah, I think he has Yeah, I think he's got a very high floor, but I don't know. Yahoo's not bad, but I've seen on a few different sites where he's been taken a lot earlier than the 10th or 11th round. I could definitely justify taking him here, but if he was ranked higher, like some sites have him, I don't think he's worth his ADP.
Yeah, I think he is the top pitcher available in my rankings. I could just take a middle infielder here as well and finish that up. Thinking about it, Aaron Hill would be the guy I take. And I say that now, and if I am vocalizing it, that means he might not come back to me here with both these guys. Well, only one of them needs a second baseman. This is a tough spot. I think after taking the 2 pitchers early, I can continue to wait there. I think outfield is the way I want to go. And now you know what? I'm just going to take Hill. Oh, I think I got auto-drafted. Oh, and it was Cole Hamels. Son of a bitch. Oh, the joys of live streaming. When you don't take too much time thinking about it and talking about it. Yeah, I just fell prey to the trap.
I'm just trying to fill up my queue as fast as possible right now, so I don't have to worry about that on my pick.
Yeah, that's a great idea. But I don't know. Coming back to me here, now it's like I was about to take Aaron Hill. Do I still take him? I don't know. It's like I almost feel like I need to make up for that Cole Hamels pick. I don't know how I do that. I think you just cross your fingers and pray that he only misses a little bit of time to start the year. Yeah, I think if that kind of thing happens, like what do you do in this scenario if you get an auto-drafted player that you absolutely didn't want? It's almost always going to be somebody like Hamels who is only at the top of the board because they're injured,
Yeah. Well, I think the natural reaction would be to pick another starting pitcher if that's what you're looking at in the first place to try and make up for him. But I think you really have to take offense to balance him out. Because if you take another pitcher, you're going to be stuck with an injured pitcher and a pitcher instead of 0 batters.
Yeah, no, I think I think when this happens and like if we were going to play this league out, I just and there goes Tanaka. God damn it. That makes me so mad.
I mean, it could have been worse. You could have got Chris Medlin.
That's fair. Yeah, at least Hamels has a chance to come back this year. I'm just going to take Hill. At this point now, I can take outfielders and best hitter available to finish out my offense. Again, that's kind of ignoring the catcher spot, and then look at pitchers on top of that. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this team. I'd feel a lot better about it if that Cole Hamels pick was anything else. But them's the breaks, I guess. Now you, Zach, still need to fill a corner infield and middle infield position. But you only have 1 outfield spot left, and your catcher spot is filled. What are you looking at this round?
Well, I would have liked Anthony Rizzo, but once again, my person gets picked in the round before me, so I